The room went silent the moment she walked in. Mrs. Whitman stood in the doorway, holding a small gift bag with tissue paper sticking out the top. She wore a floral dress, the kind teachers wear on the last day of school. Her smile was wide, confident, the smile of someone who thought she'd won. But the smile died the second she saw me. I was sitting at the head of the conference table, dark suit, white shirt, her pension file open in front of me. Her eyes locked onto mine, confusion first, then recognition, then something close to fear. Because I wasn't supposed to be here. I was supposed to be nowhere. She told my parents that herself, 15 years ago. The HR director gestured toward an empty chair. "Mrs. Whitman, please have a seat. We need to go over a few things before we finalize your retirement." She didn't move, she just stared at me. I didn't smile, I didn't speak, I just pressed a button on the laptop in front of me. The projector screen behind me lit up. A scanned document appeared, yellowed paper, faded blue lines, red ink slashed across the top. Her handwriting lacks focus, shows no potential, will likely struggle in any academic or professional setting. And at the bottom, circled twice in that same red ink, "This child will never go anywhere." Someone at the table whispered, "Jesus, she wrote that about a kid." The gift bag slipped from her hand. Tissue paper drifted to the floor like snow. I still didn't say anything. I just tapped the folder in front of me. Her entire future sat inside it. 15 years ago, I was 10 years old. Mrs. Whitman was my 5th grade teacher. She had been teaching for 20 years by then, and she ran her classroom like a kingdom, strict, cold, efficient. I wasn't a bad kid, I was just quiet, slow to answer, the kind of student who needed an extra minute to think. She hated that. One afternoon, she handed back our math tests. Mine had a giant red F across the top. I'd gotten half the answers right, but she marked the whole thing wrong because my handwriting was messy. I raised my hand. "Mrs. Whitman, I think you missed some of these. I got number 4 right." She walked over to my desk, slowly, deliberately, the whole class watching. She picked up my test, held it up for everyone to see. "This," she said, "is what happens when you don't try." My face burned. She dropped the paper back on my desk. Some students just aren't cut out for success. The class laughed, not all of them, but enough. That night my parents got a call. She told them I wasn't applying myself, that I lacked discipline, that I needed to lower my expectations. My dad asked if there was anything they could do to help. She said honestly, some kids just don't have it. My mom cried that night, quietly in the kitchen, thinking I couldn't hear. But I did. And I remembered. 2 months ago, I got a notification. I work for a private investment firm that manages pension accounts for school districts across 3 states. We handle audits, compliance checks, expense reviews. A new account had been flagged for review, standard procedure before final payout. The name at the top of the file, Patricia Whitman. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I opened the file. At first it was just numbers, contributions, interest, projected payout. But then I saw the expense reports. Field trip reimbursements that didn't match student attendance records. Supply budgets with receipts for items never delivered. Conference fees for events she never attended. Small amounts, spread over years, easy to miss if you weren't looking. But I was looking. And the more I dug, the more I found. Buried in her account files were forwarded emails, old correspondence between her and the district office. I clicked one open. Subject line, struggling student spring semester. Her message: honestly, half these kids are hopeless. Parents are clueless. I do what I can, but some people just aren't meant to succeed. Another email sent to a coworker. The Newton boy is impossible. I've told his parents he has no future. They're in denial. The Newton boy. That was me. My last name is Newton. I sat back in my chair, stared at the screen, felt something cold settle in my stomach. Not anger, not yet. Just clarity. I still had the test she failed me on. My mom kept everything. When I went home that weekend, I found it in a box in the attic. Same red ink, same slashing marks. But on the back, in pencil, my dad had written something I'd never noticed before. Son, they don't decide who you become, you do. I took a photo of it. Then I took a photo of her email. And I put them side by side. When Mrs. Whitman finally sat down, her hands were shaking. The HR director cleared her throat. We've flagged some irregularities in your expense reports. Before we process your final payout, we need clarification. Mrs. Whitman's voice came out thin. What kind of irregularities? I clicked to the next slide. A spreadsheet appeared, highlighted rows, red flags. Unauthorized reimbursements, I said quietly. Receipts that don't match purchase orders. Conferences you were paid to attend but never registered for. Her face went pale. That's a mistake. I can explain all of that. Good, I said, because the state auditor will want an explanation too. She looked at me like I just stabbed her. The state auditor. I nodded. Standard procedure when we find discrepancies over a certain threshold. Your account crossed that threshold. She gripped the edge of the table. This is ridiculous. I've worked for 30 years. You can't just... I'm not doing anything, I interrupted. The numbers are, I'm just presenting them. The room was silent. Then I clicked to the next slide. Her emails appeared, the ones about me, the ones about other students. Someone at the table gasped. Mrs. Whitman's voice broke. Where did you get those? They were in your file, I said. Forwarded to the district office years ago, part of your permanent record. She looked around the room, desperate. This is a setup. He's doing this because he has a grudge. The HR director frowned. Mr. Newton, is there a conflict of interest here? I shook my head. No conflict, just compliance. These irregularities would have been flagged regardless of who reviewed the account. I paused. But yes, I do remember Mrs. Whitman. She was my teacher. The director's expression shifted. Mrs. Whitman stood up, chair scraping loudly. This is insane. I'm calling my union rep. You should, I said. They'll want to see this too. I clicked one more time. A scanned image filled the screen. The test. The one with the giant red F, the one with her note at the bottom. This child will never go anywhere. Next to it, the photo of my business card. Senior Compliance Analyst. The room went dead quiet. Mrs. Whitman stared at the screen, then at me. Her voice was barely a whisper. You did this on purpose. No, I said, you did 15 years ago. The HR director closed her laptop. Mrs. Whitman, your retirement payout is being suspended pending investigation. You'll be contacted by the state auditor within 10 business days. Mrs. Whitman's legs buckled. She grabbed the chair for support. Please, she whispered, I need that pension, I need it. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I stood, buttoned my jacket, picked up the folder. I needed something once too, I said quietly. You didn't care. I walked past her toward the door. She reached out, hand trembling. Wait, please, can't we talk about this? I stopped, turned back. There's nothing to talk about. The numbers speak for themselves. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry, I said those things. I nodded slowly. I know you are now. Then I left. In the hallway, I pulled out the old test, the one my mom had saved, the one with her cruel words on the front and my dad's encouragement on the back. I stood there for a moment, holding it. Then I walked to the shredder by the copy room. Fed it through. Watched it turn into confetti. Behind me, through the glass wall of the conference room, I could see Mrs. Whitman still sitting there, head in her hands, the gift bag she'd brought still on the floor. Her future in pieces, just like she once tried to do to mine. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt done. Outside, the sun was setting. The parking lot was empty except for my car and hers. I sat in the driver's seat for a minute, hands on the wheel, breathing slow. My phone buzzed, a text from my dad. "How'd it go?" I typed back, "She finally knows." 3 dots appeared, then "Good, now let it go." I smiled, started the engine, and drove away. If you love stories where the underestimated rise, the arrogant fall, and karma walks in right on time, hit subscribe. Because the next story, someone else who thought they were untouchable is about to learn they're not.